Well, it's that time. It's that time to talk about something that goes hand in hand with professional wrestling, and that is politics. Welcome to the Big Pop Podcast, the premier progressive pro wrestling podcast where we discuss the intersection of wrestling and leftist ideals. I am one of your hosts for the show, Navthepoet, and joining me, as always, is my amazing co-host, Sully. How are you doing today?
I'm well, thank you. It is burning hot.
Yeah, melting here, but we still got a show to do. So here we are. Now, Sully, a lot of people seem to feel that politics and wrestling don't and shouldn't mix, but wrestling's own history disproves that thought, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. I anyone who says wrestling and politics don't go together, man, I got a knuckle sandwich for you right here. It's wrestling, like all sports and entertainment, it's inherently political.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we'll be going through some different things that have taken place that intersect the two
Hmm.
I don't even to call them not genres, but two worlds. Starting with probably WWE's long standing now, but again, recent issue of doing shows in Saudi Arabia.
Yay! Woo! Play the Saudi national anthem. Yeah, me and Nav were talking about this before we went live. I have a lot of problems with the Saudi thing, and I want to get in front of this before anything comes up. This isn't rooted in Islamophobia. I myself am a practicing Muslim. Nav is like the least Islamophobic person I've met. Uh,
Even
yeah.
comparison to other Muslims.
Compared to me. Um, yeah, the Saudi shows are it's a key example of sports washing. Um, Very quickly, Saudi Arabia is using sports as a way to kind of make itself more palatable to Western audiences and to just the West in general. They're doing this through boxing, through wrestling, the whole Riyadh season thing, the UFC. They're doing this through soccer. They bought Newcastle United, one of the biggest clubs in England, and like it works so well that you have people in Newcastle like chanting the names of like the Saudi guy like Mohammed bin Salman, and if you criticize Saudi Arabia in parts of Newcastle, like you're gonna have a big burly man coming for you. It works. Sports washing works, and it's just like the continued going back to Saudi Arabia is annoying, and it's like it's so undignified towards probably some of the wrestlers.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even a probably. We know, right?
Yeah.
Because wrestlers have taken issue, whether
Hmm.
that's Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. There's probably others as well that I just can't
Hmm.
think of at the time. But there's clearly people who take issue with this, and there are plenty of fans who do take issue with it as well,
Hmm.
especially because when it, I think it was the first year that they were
Yeah.
doing a Saudi show, and there was a huge international incident
Yeah.
that had occurred. So from the start, I mean, obviously with the long history of Saudi Arabia, it's
Yeah.
already been there, but like from the start of their relationship, it's been
Yeah.
bad, for them, and they continue to persist and pursue
Hmm.
these shows.
The worst thing is it's so like transparently about money for
Hmm.
WWE. Like I don't remember how much Saudi pays now, but I remember when they were first doing the shows, the money Saudi Arabia was giving WWE was more than all of the money they made throughout the year. It was like s- 60 to 600, I can't remember. It was a massive amount of money for the shows. And so they were like, yeah, we'll do the Saudi shows. It's the reason why they were like greater than or equal to WrestleMania.
Yeah, I mean they're doing a Rumble
Yeah,
in
they're doing the
Saudi
Rumble there.
Arabia next year.
I like within the decade, I won't be surprised if they do a WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia.
Oh yeah.
Um,
So
the
the initial number, by the way, is I think 500 million. Yeah, a 10-year deal gives WWE a whopping 500 million in revenue.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
And that's not including like it's probably not including stuff like the WWE experience they have out there
sure.
and like the additional sponsorship stuff for like the Riyadh season. It's nuts. It's genuinely like it's so blatant. And I know WWE do this. Like I mean that's why WrestleMania's in no, SummerSlam is in Vegas. Something's in Vegas next year. It might be WrestleMania again.
I think it's Mania, yeah.
Yeah, and it's because Vegas were like, here's loads of zeros on this paycheck. But at least Vegas is in the US, I guess. But
Yeah. It's just and it's always been this way, right?
hmm
But it's the fact that the company has grown so much exponentially since Vince left and
hmm
since the TKO deal and everything that it's become so much more in our faces of these money-driven decisions
mm
versus creative and talent-related
yeah,
decisions, and like the fact that they're making a whole story or at least part of a storyline
yeah,
with CM Punk and John Cena being that CM Punk is going back on his word. Like,
yeah,
it's stupid.
yeah,
It's also stupid that he's going back on his word. And I'm saying that as
yeah,
like one of the biggest CM Punk fans
hmm
to exist. But I mean, Sami Zayn's done the same thing too,
yeah,
so,
exactly.
and we don't know obviously the inner, like the specifics of those decisions and
hmm
everything like that. But um, it is frustrating when someone's so vocally against a decision, but then automatically uh, concedes.
Exactly. Like, I think maybe Kevin Owens is the only person I can think of who's consistently not gone to Saudi. I'm not 100% sure on that. Like
I don't know.
Cena for a long time wouldn't go, but I think that's because he was more concerned about like the Hollywood ramifications. And
Right,
it was like before Saudi Arabia was like, yo, let's just pump out the propaganda, let's get messy in the adverts, let's get, all this sort of stuff. So it is disappointing seeing some of the wrestlers going. Like Sami Zayn, I love him. I do find it a bit disappointing. I know for him, it was like I don't and because they did the whole documentary of him going to Saudi Arabia. I never watched it, but like it felt kind of icky. They were
sure.
like, Sammy, you can go, and I know part of it was Syrian and Saudi relations were the reason he couldn't go, but
Right.
also it was and he was like, I got to go on like Umrah, which is like a mini version of the pilgrimage,
Mm,
and I was like, that part of it, I'm like, okay, that's awesome. He got to be in front of an Arab crowd, yeah, that's sick. But
sure.
also, it's like I know you are so politically vocal, and Saudi Arabia's politics is like the antithesis of so many things Sami Zayn represents. Like you said, a similar thing with CM Punk. Like CM Punk is extremely vocal about issues that I care about as well, but like Saudi's the antithesis of this. And I get the United States, you can't help because you physically work for a US company.
Right.
So given the Trump administration's, views on many things, I can't say to CM Punk stop working in the US. Well, he's from the US. He can't do that.
Right.
But like I don't know if their policy is still if you don't want to go to Saudi, you don't need to. But if it is, don't go.
Yeah. Yeah, I think because I don't watch the Saudi shows, so that's
Yeah,
why
I
I
don't.
wasn't sure, but it does appear that Zayn did go. Sorry,
Yeah.
not Zayn,
Oh,
Owens. I knew
Owens.
Zayn went. Owens, they apparently defended the tag titles against
Yeah.
Roman and Solo.
Yeah, that
Um,
that rings a bell.
yeah, Cena did refuse the first year
Mm-hmm.
because of the
Khashoggi stuff.
assassination. Yeah, because of the assassination issue, but clearly
Yeah.
that's irrelevant now for Big Money John.
Yeah.
No longer
Uh,
Big Match John.
Also, I think the women's thing is like another bigger one, and it it's like what like the attire aside, the attire I don't care really about. Um, it is kind of like again, I'm not Saudi. I have my own political views on Saudi Arabia as well, but I'm like clearly like the way they pitch it is like, look how progressive Saudi Arabia is. They let women in
Right.
here, and I'm like, this is so blatantly propaganda. You
Yeah.
know, it's like it. Sorry, I could just go on for ages, but it's just so blatantly just pro-Saudi propaganda in the build up to the 20 Saudi 2030 whatever
Oh yeah. I mean,
thing.
that first match that they made a whole big deal of like, oh,
Mm,
the first time two women get to
yeah,
perform or something. I don't remember the exact stat that they were mentioning or
yeah,
whatever, but it was just like you're making it sound like this is a thing to be proud of.
yeah. Like and like to get even like just Saudi Arabia hasn't. Look, I don't want to get too deep into the nuance because I could spend forever talking about it. But like as a Muslim, the the brand of Islam that Saudi Arabia promotes is a very, very strict,
Mm,
a very almost backwards brand of Islam. And in my opinion, I'm not a scholar. I'm not gonna,
sure.
come here and act like I'm the final word in anything. But they have also actively tried to spread that to parts of the world to ensure their own political dominance through it.
Mm,
And so they are spreading this very backwards message to other parts of the world, and WWE are helping to normalize that. And so even though, to American audiences, it's like, oh wow, Saudi Arabia is so progressive, so going forward, Saudi Arabia does the exact opposite to like the Islamic world. And
mm.
then they're in Saudi Arabia, like just being hypocrites to either side. It's just,
Well, since you laid it out like that, it kind of makes WWE and Saudi Arabia, just two peas in a pod because
yeah.
WWE is full of hypocrisy,
Yeah.
and also presents itself as progressive while
Mm,
actively being more and more regressive and
mm,
like terribly capitalistic that is like harmful to the wrestlers, to business, and then like even promoting right wing people. Like I can't remember his
yeah.
name, but they did some roast. The wrestlers
The
did a
comedian
roast.
guy, yeah.
Yeah, and like he was a guy that was like he was at a Trump rally, like doing, and he
Mm-hmm.
did made like some terrible quote unquote joke. I don't
Mm-hmm.
remember what it was. I don't pay attention to the details of these
Mm-hmm.
people like that.
Hmm.
But I just remember I can't remember his name now, but I remember him being a problem.
Yeah, yeah.
But W actively like had him, I think, on Raw to be like, hey, like he's hosting the
Hmm.
roast and stuff like that. And geez, I mentioned the roast. I don't know if you've read any of the roast
I
uh
rem I
dialogue
rem
because it
there was like
leaked.
yeah, there was a joke about well, a joke about Nia Jax, I believe was very distasteful. I
That was
think
might have not even been the worst of it, dude.
really
Like
I know there was something about one of the wrestlers of color. I don't know who it was though. But I was like, what? Like, why aren't you guys vetting this stuff? And it was, no, this wasn't part of Netflix. Netflix was the Tom Segura and the guy who takes his shirt off. That's a different thing. Um, yeah, I remember reading and I was like, what are you guys thinking? It doesn't make any sense. Like, at least in the past, you had Wale, who was like kind of fun. Now you got this geezer.
well,
Yeah,
they
and I
just
heard,
had the So I just pulled up some of
Hmm.
the roasts, and it's like roasting is an art, and it's usually
Hmm.
directed at the people involved, but they just
Yeah,
mention like random stuff. So like literally number one on this thing that I found was Jinder Mahal wasn't at WrestleMania. Jinder Mahal, who's fired from the
it's not even
company
there.
for a while
Yeah.
now, wasn't at WrestleMania because he was having a midlife ISIS.
I don't understand these people. Like, one, it's not funny.
Yeah,
It doesn't even make sense. Like,
it doesn't. You're right.
if you want to make a racist joke, I don't know, try and make your racist joke funny or something. I don't know.
Okay,
Like,
okay, judge this next one. We'll judge we'll
oh,
judge
okay, okay.
judge it on its humor and its like collected. So at WrestleMania, Jey Uso was the underdog, which I don't even like saying these, so I'm probably not gonna do too many because some of these are just disgusting. Jey Uso was the underdog, which is what Nakamura ate for dinner tonight.
Oh, I just don't. Genuinely, like, if you're what?
Yeah,
If you're WWE and you've got like I get it, Nakamura's not a big name for them. He's just chilling out. He just wants to surf. He
sure.
doesn't care. He's just in the US because he likes the waves. Um, but like imagine if he'd said that about EO, like a Japanese wrestler they actually gave a shit about. Like it would be, why don't you as a producer, why aren't you vetting these things, I don't know. I'm assuming this wasn't recorded. This wasn't meant to be for general audiences. You had to buy
No,
tickets, didn't you, to go?
yeah, but like
Yeah.
audio was like leaked, and I heard when it first came out, I heard that they were trying to scrub all like evidence of the recording, which it's like I genuinely can't read some of this stuff, or like I don't feel right reading some of
Yeah,
this stuff and saying
yeah,
it out loud because it's disgusting. Like I'm looking at one in particular. It's about Gunther, and it's
yeah.
about a
Oh,
certain person's birthday. And
yeah.
so it says, yeah, it's that man's birthday, so it's a celebration for Gunther. Like, what is wrong with you?
I just,
Hinchcliffe was his name, by the way. The
yeah,
I think it's
Tony
Tony
Hinchcliffe, isn't it?
Hinchcliffe.
Yeah.
Stupid. And I'm just like, what is going on? But we
It,
know what's going on.
yeah, it's just, but also, like, your audience clearly isn't completely that
Right.
because, like, it just isn't that audience completely. So I don't get it. Like you're selling these tickets to this roast, and like a subset of the audience isn't going to be for that. And even in your wrestling in your programming in general, a subset of your audience can be like that. It's like I don't know. But I know the right wing in the US particularly have a lot of buying power. They've got their own like Amazon, whatever. But still, it's just like it's kind of pathetic.
Yeah, but I obviously don't know if this is true, but I've definitely heard people talk about this, and I'm sure you have too, of like,
Hmm.
for whatever reason, WWE wanting to appeal to
Hmm.
more right-wing demographics.
Yeah.
And I don't
Yeah.
fully understand that logic.
I think it's again, at least from what I see as an outsider of the US, the right wing of the US are very loyal, especially when it comes to corporations that appeal to them.
Sure.
And also they turn very easily. Like the whole Bud Light thing with Dylan Mulvaney, I hope I'm getting the name right. As soon as they saw that Bud Light thing, as soon as a little bit of misinformation being like, they're gonna put this trans person on all of the Bud Lights came out. They flipped. They like destroyed Bud Lights in stores.
Yeah.
Kid Rock started shooting Bud Light. Uh,
Sorry.
like
I did not know that. I'd never
yeah,
heard that.
yeah. There's a video of him like he bought crates of Bud Light and just shot them.
That is the funniest thing ever. It's
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 yeah,
so yeah, it's wild to me. It's not totally related, but I was driving to work today
yeah.
and there was a car in front of me.
Hmm.
And at first I see on the windshield like Trump and right-wing
Mm.
related decals.
Mm.
And then I looked at their license plate and they literally got a license plate that said he won X3 or 3X. I don't remember. It might have even been. And I'm like, you wasted money for that?
Yeah, that's I don't know about there, but here that's bloody expensive.
Yeah, getting your license plate redone is not like,
Yeah.
it's not cheap. I was just like, you really spend money on that. And then the irony of it all is there was one sticker like right at the bottom of the windshield that said, "The
Mm.
cure is conversation." I was like, you are not in the mood for any conversation, dude.
Yeah, I think it's they think they are going to have more buying power. And also I know we mentioned in the past they want to appeal to the UFC audience, which
Mm,
definitely leans that way, especially now.
sure.
I don't know. It feels like it's they just and again, it's I don't want to make this point, but it's really strange seeing how WWE was so much more, at least outwardly, progressive under
Sure.
Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
Like, like Vince would do his whole "I love Martin Luther King, he's my hero" speech every year, you know, tweets out a really nice tweet about Martin Luther King on his birthday and just says "Happy birthday, Shane." Um, I don't believe they did Black History Month this year. At least I don't remember seeing anything about it.
I honestly don't
Um,
remember. I
yeah.
I'm sure they did something, but
They
it
might have
might not
done like
have been as
a social post, but normally they'll push stuff on the t television as well.
sure.
Nothing, obviously nothing for Pride Month.
No.
And it's like it's so strange that your company, and I know Sir Vince probably, apart from Martin Luther King Day, probably did it for like optics because he WWE's progressive, we'll buy stuff from them. But like it's not great seeing the company go down this way. Nothing
Yeah.
would. I didn't see a Juneteenth post. I know at least
Oh,
AEW put out a Juneteenth post.
he wouldn't they wouldn't
Yeah,
they're not going to do anything like that anymore. Or
yeah,
definitely not Juneteenth.
yeah.
Yeah, according to what I'm reading online, there was just nothing really about Black History Month this year.
Mm.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that's good because
Um,
yeah, in the past every year there's always something about like Ron Simmons being the first
yeah.
like black world champion, or at least the first,
I
recognized
mean,
black world champion.
there's usually a lot. They have
Mm.
interviews with the black wrestlers and talking about
Yeah,
their experience and like what Ron Simmons or other,
yeah,
like legends mean to them and like
yeah.
the expansion and everything, which like of all years, this would have really been like the year to
Mm.
really highlight that, especially with the women. You got
Yeah,
Naomi, Bianca, Jade. In NXT, you got Trick Williams, you got Javon, you got Carmel. Like, there's
yeah.
plenty of people that they could have highlighted and all that stuff. And so it's not surprising, I want to say, but it is sad that
Mm.
they've chosen to not highlight. And obviously there's a whole conversation about like performative
Mm-hmm.
allyship and
Yeah,
performative, you know, uh gestures.
yeah.
Um, but that's literally WWE in its like a nutshell. Like
Yeah.
most of what they do is performative,
Mm.
but it's the point of like, oh, you're not even doing the performative stuff
Yeah,
anymore.
exactly.
So it's like, well, what's that about?
Mm.
But then when you hear quotes like Triple H in the lead up to WrestleMania saying, I think Trump's ability as an orator, like him or hate him, the way he does it, he's charismatic in so many ways. I think he likes getting under people's skin. I think he likes generating heat the way he does. It's amazing and it's genius, and it worked in our business. Do I think he got that from our business? I think he innately understands that. It's been his whole life. When you hear stuff like that, it becomes more clear why things like highlighting Black History Month or
Mm.
even Pride Month, because they have done stuff for Pride Month in the
Yeah.
past.
I mean,
Why,
Finn had a whole Pride line of merch.
yeah. So it becomes more clear why there's less and less of that. going back to what we said right at the beginning, which is that politics and wrestling are completely intertwined.
This quote, man, he's like, yeah, yeah, Donald Trump, he learned it all from me, the game, Triple H, me and Vince, who taught him everything. I find it funny that you guys don't want me to be the next president of the United States. It's like, I think it's Canadian anyway. I don't know. Like, ugh.
This is the part, and we talked about this when I shared this quote with you. I think he likes generating heat the way he does.
Well,
Generating heat is totally cool for wrestling or any fictional series or narrative. Generating heat, meaning getting people to boo you, be upset at you, when it comes to the policies you plan on enacting in real life society, is the most asinine thing you could do.
Donald, I'm gonna go way for you to generate heat. Bomb Iran. What do you mean generate heat? He's the president of the most powerful country in the world.
Yeah, I just, I don't even know if shocking is the right word because I shouldn't be shocked, but it's just so shocking in the sense of I'm so frustrated by that
Yeah,
notion of in any way comparing these two worlds
yeah,
because yeah, you're one is the leader of the world pretty much who gets to dictate how people's lives go. And the other is a man who at this point I don't even think he's in charge, so it doesn't matter, but who
yeah.
supposedly is in charge of a television show. These are not the same thing.
I mean, it's even worse when you've got like the top talent as well, like also spouting this nonsense. Like we've got a quote from Roman Reigns, and I'll go through the first half of it. It's like, I support our president. Trump is one of those guys where he's got a vast history and a huge background. He's been, he's been in entertainment. He's been in big business, politics. At this point, I'm supporting a bright future for our country. And it's like my brother in Christ, he started deporting people like a week after you said this. Like,
Yeah, well, you stopped right at the line that always gets
oh,
me.
okay. Okay.
Positive and competent leadership. Positive and competent should be nowhere near the name Donald Trump because he's the antithesis of exactly that.
Like, even if you think he's like doing this 5D chess type stuff where it's like he's pretending to be the fool, you know? There's something people thought like our former Prime Minister Boris Johnson was doing as well.
Sure.
Like and I'm sure there is a part of Donald Trump that is conniving and, you know, just gonna, you know, get stuff done in that way. But it's also like I think he's just like, oh, yeah, Mr. Silicon Valley man, you want to give me money to do something? Okay, I'll take your money. And it's like, well, how is that positive or that's like it's not competent leadership for you to sell your country out to the highest bidder.
Yeah. It's also not competent to haphazardly abduct people and deport them.
Yeah.
Like, even if you want to go with the approach, like, I don't agree with deportation in general, but even if you were
Hmm.
like, hey, like, we do need to address this quote unquote problem,
Yeah.
right? Or we need to, there's a way to go about it
Yeah.
that is more, there's tact that you could have
Hmm.
in this in addressing this issue or whatever you want to call it. Again, I don't think it's personally an issue,
Yeah.
but if for those people who feel it's an issue, you still gotta be like, there's a way to go about it. There's a way to do it.
Literally, like turning up at people's immigration meetings, lying to someone saying, yeah, you got your confirmation of your green card, come and collect it, and then them just being grabbed by just dudes in balaclavas.
Yeah.
It's fucking,
But
it's
also literally
horrible.
getting people who are citizens or who
Yeah,
have all their proper paperwork and have
yeah.
everything. Like, again, wouldn't agree with it if he was only getting undocumented people, but I'm just saying,
Hmm.
like, you're not even doing what you supposedly claim you meant to
Yeah.
do. you know?
It's and it's appalling because it's basically WWE co-signing all of these things.
Right.
Like if you if they just were like any other company in the world that's just not saying anything, at the very least you're just not saying anything.
Sure.
But these guys are out here being like, "Yes, Donald, I love you, Donald. Literally, I love you, Donald."
Yeah. Well, I think the biggest cosign other than these two statements was them in the El Grande Americano vignettes putting
Mm,
the Gulf of America. I was just like, why did you even do that? Like that's
yeah,
you're literally serving an absolute delusion. That's what you're
yeah.
doing. Like,
And also, you've just bought the second largest company in Mexico,
yeah,
which already I think are getting blowback from Mexican audiences as well.
sure,
And it's like you've got a large Latino audience who will probably be watching AAA, and are you just gonna have like these pro-Trump sentiments? And I get there was a swing towards Trump from the Latino audience, but it wasn't the
sure,
majority. It
yeah,
was just it was an increase, and that happens in politics, and that's another conversation, obviously.
yeah,
But like, it doesn't make sense. And if you're trying to continue this global localization thing, well, it's not going to help. Like we see from the Club World Cup happening at the moment, there's no people going to the US. The foreign ticket purchases are down. It doesn't help. Like if you're gonna, it doesn't. This administration doesn't help them monetarily,
right,
especially like visas for wrestlers you want to sign from abroad, getting visas to go and work abroad. It just doesn't. I don't
yeah. It's it's fascinating the way that like again, it's always been there, and
know.
probably in future episodes we'll go through more of the like previous history of
Yeah.
politics and wrestling. Just like obviously one of the biggest examples is like Sergeant Slaughter
Ugh.
becoming, I forgot what his name was, but he became an Iraq war sympathizer or Iraqi sympathizer, right?
Yeah.
Iraqi sympathizer.
Yeah.
And he joined why am I blanking on his name? Oh my God.
The Iron Sheik, they
Yeah,
turned him into like the Iron General or something, and there was someone else as well who was meant to be like Saddam Hussein.
yeah. And so it's like WWE has always taken from current events or just politics in general for their to fuel their stories. They've always, I mean, just use the trope of the foreign heel
Yeah.
itself is the most politically charged concept in professional wrestling, which thankfully we've for the most part moved away from.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't recall anything since Triple H has taken over that's been like very
Yeah.
blatantly um like, oh, you're a heel because you're foreign. Like that I don't think has really happened.
Yeah, yeah, even Rusev, they're not going down that route.
No,
They're,
no. Um yeah, so that's what I mean. Since Triple H has taken over, he's at least not done any of that
mhm.
nonsense. But yeah, like that's all politics. That's all, politically charged content that the WWE actively uses to make money, but also, and I get it, we're in the US, but they promote like nationalistic values and beliefs.
Mhm.
Like again, we'll break these down further in future episodes probably, but just to highlight one more, because it always, every time I think of it, always baffles me. This is Muhammad Hassan. This man literally came out to the ring and said, I'm mad because you are being racist towards me and my people. And he got booed for calling out the
Yeah.
racism.
Even Mustafa Ali, I think he had a big blowout with Vince because I think it was never confirmed, but it was heavily implied that Vince wanted him to do like the evil Muslim thing,
Uh,
I hate America. shtick, and he's like, I'm not doing that. Like my whole point coming here was to not do that.
Yeah, I
Um,
wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be
yeah,
surprised if that was it. Uh, Definitely with. I mean, obviously, I've never read anything, but I'm sure that conversation took place between
yeah.
him and Vince at some
Like
point.
no one ever said that was why, but it was like very heavily implied that
Sure.
was why.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just.
I'm surprised they've not done it with Sammy yet. I'll be honest. I think literally his sheer charisma is the only reason they've not.
Yeah, I think Sammy's just been fortunate that Vince has never cared about him, so he didn't do it
Yeah.
with him. And then obviously Triple H isn't going to do it. Um,
Yeah, I think they're not going to do it because it's like you're going to win the Rumble in Saudi Arabia, Sammy. You're an Arab, right? Yeah, close enough.
oh, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Damn. Oh no. This is going to be the first Rumble I don't watch.
Yeah, I'm just not going to watch it. I'm hoping someone else puts on a show that weekend, and I can watch something else that weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be rough. But yeah, point is that people who say politics keep politics out of wrestling either are not paying attention or my belief want to ignore
Hmm.
what is going on in the world and how that impacts
Yep,
culture and how pop culture also then influences the world and they just want to treat it like it's not even existent.
100%, 100%.
Yeah, well, that's our chat about politics and wrestling part 1 because we have
Of
plenty more to
many.
say. Yeah. But Sully, where can everybody find you?
The people can find me at Kayfabe Crimes. That's crimes with a K. Here on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. Where can they find you, my friend?
That would be Nav the Poet, Nav the Poet, no spaces, no underscores on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. And you can find our podcast, The Big Pop Podcast, here on YouTube and on Instagram and TikTok at The Big Pop Pod. Till next time.
Don't watch the Saudi show.